Good morning. Here is part 2 of the story Tiger, Tiger that we're going to be reading this week. Do you guys remember where we left off in yesterday's video? Well, Mowgli has been told that he was going to basically herd cattle and buffaloes. Mainly that's because Buldeo just wants him out of the way, because Mowgli was starting to see all of the flaws in Buldeo the hunter's stories. So let's see what happens as he herds buffaloes and cattle. Starting at the bottom of page 81 is where we're beginning. An Indian grazing ground is all rocks and scrub and tussocks and little ravines, among which the herds scatter and disappear. Now the buffaloes generally keep to the pools and muddy places where they lie wallowing or basking in the warm mud for hours. Mowgli drove them on to the edge of the plain where the Waingunga River came out of the jungle. Then he dropped from Rama's neck, trotted off to a bamboo clump, and found Gray Brother. "Ah," said Gray Brother, "I have waited here very many days. What is the meaning of this cattle herding work?" "It is an order," said Mowgli. "I am a village herd for a while. What news of Shere Khan?" "He has come back to this country." Not country like India, because this whole time it's been in India, but to this kind of hunting area. "And he has waited here a long time for thee," for Mowgli. "Now he has gone off again, for the game is scarce, but he means to kill thee." "Very good," said Mowgli. "So long as he is away, do thou or one of the 4 brothers sit on that rock, so that I can see thee as I come out of the village." So he's asking them to kind of keep watch for him. "When he comes back, wait for me in the ravine by the dock tree in the center of the plain. We need not walk into Shere Khan's mouth." So he must have a plan in place. We're not going to just go right up to Shere Khan, but there's some sort of plan, and the other wolves are going to help. Then Mowgli picked out a shady place and lay down and slept while the buffaloes grazed around him. Herding in India is one of the laziest things in the world. The cattle move and crunch and lie down and move on again, and they do not even low. They only grunt, and the buffaloes very seldom say anything, but get down into the muddy pools one after another and work their way into the mud till only their noses and staring china blue eyes show above the surface, and there they lie like logs. The sun makes the rocks dance at the heat, and the herd children hear one kite, never any more, whistling almost out of sight overhead. And they know that if they died, or a cow died, that kite would swoop down, and the next kite miles away would see him drop and would follow, and the next and the next. And almost before they were dead, there would be a score of hungry kites come out of nowhere. So then they sleep and wake and sleep again, and weave little baskets of dried grass and put grasshoppers in them, or catch 2 praying mantis and make them fight, or string a necklace of red and black jungle nuts, or watch a lizard basking on a rock, or a snake hunting a frog near the wallows. Then, these are all the things that little kids would do. It's lazy and boring to just move along with these cattle. So what else would they do? They might watch a lizard basking on a rock, or a snake hunting a frog near the wallows. Then they sing long, long songs with odd native quavers at the end of them. And the day seems longer than most people's whole lives. And perhaps they make a mud castle with mud figures of men and horses and buffaloes, and put reeds into the men's hands, and pretend they're kings. And the figures are their little armies, or that they're gods to be worshipped. Then evening comes, and the children call, and the buffaloes lumber up out of the sticky mud with noises like gunshots going off one after the other. And they all string across the gray plain back to the twinkling yellow lights. Village light, sorry. Now, all of this, it's just wasting time, and Mowgli is used to having really productive things to do. Day after day, Mowgli would lead the buffaloes out to their wallows, and day after day, he would see Gray Brother's back 1.5 miles away across the plain. So he knew that Shere Khan had not come back. And day after day, he would lie on the grass, listening to the noises round him, and dreaming of old days in the jungle, If Shere Khan had made a false step with his lame paw up in the jungles by the Waingunga, Mowgli would have heard him in these long, still mornings. At last, a day came when he did not see Gray Brother at the signal place. And he laughed and headed the buffaloes for the ravine by the dock tree, which was all covered with golden red flowers. There sat Gray Brother, every bristle on his back lifted. He must be scared. He has hidden for a month to throw thee off thy guard, Gray Brother says. He crossed the ranges last night with Tabaqui, hot foot on thy trail, said the wolf, panting. Mowgli frowned. I'm not afraid of Shere Khan, but Tabaqui is very cunning. Have no fear, said Gray Brother, licking his lips a little. I met Tabaqui in the dawn. Now he's telling all his wisdom to the kites, but he told me everything before I broke his back. Shere Khan's plan is to wait for thee at the village gate this evening, for thee and for no one else. He is lying up now in the big dry ravine of the Waingunga. So he knows from Tabaqui that Shere Khan is in the ravine, which is like a canyon, like this big dip. Has he eaten today, or does he hunt empty, meaning empty in his stomach? So is he hungry or not? For the answer meant life or death to him, to Mowgli. He killed at dawn a pig, and he has drunk too. Remember, Shere Khan could never fast, even for the sake of revenge. Now, why is it going to be a bad thing that Shere Khan has already hunted? He has a full belly of food and water. It's going to slow him down. He's not going to be as fast after having that. Oh, fool, fool, what a cub's cub it is. Eaten and drunk too, and he thinks that I shall wait till he has slept? Now, where does he lie up? Oh, and also not just slow down, but he's napping as a result of that. If there were but 10 of us, we might pull him down as he lies. These buffaloes will not charge unless they wind him. Get him tired. And I cannot speak their language. Can we get behind his track so that they may smell it? He swam far down the Waingunga to cut that off, said Gray Brother. Tabaqui told him that, I know. He would never have thought of it alone. Mowgli stood with his finger in his mouth, thinking. The big ravine of the Waingunga. That opens out on the plain not half a mile from here. I can take the herd round through the jungle to the head of the ravine and then sweep down. But he would slink out at the foot. We must block that end. So he's down in the ravine. He wants to bring the herd one way, and we know that this is a huge herd that even a tiger would be afraid of. A tiger would not be afraid of one buffalo or one cow, but a huge herd of them, yes. But we must block the other end. Gray Brother, canst thou cut the herd in two for me? Meaning, can we have one part of the herd go this way, the other herd go this way? Not I, perhaps, Gray Brother says, but I have brought a wise helper. At this, Gray Brother trotted off and dropped into a hole. Then there lifted up a huge gray head that Mowgli knew well. Who do you think it is? And the hot air was filled with the most desolate cry of all the jungle, the hunting howl of a wolf at midday. Akela! Akela! Said Mowgli, clapping his hands. I might have known that thou wouldst not forget me. We have a big work in hand. Cut the herd in two, Akela. Keep the cows and calves together and the bulls and plow buffaloes by themselves. Do you remember Akela? Leader of the wolf pack. Used to be leader of the wolf pack, and then they kicked him out because, or they kind of tricked him out of it. So he is going to be the one to be able to split the herd. Now the two wolves ran, ladies' chain fashion, in and out of the herd, which snorted and threw up its head and separated into two clumps, just as they wanted. In one, the cow buffaloes stood, with their calves in the center. So these are the females and their young. and they glared and pawed, ready, if a wolf would only stay still, to charge down and trample the life out of him. And the other, the bulls and the young bulls, snorted and stamped, all of the males. But though they looked more imposing, they were much less dangerous, for they had no caps to protect. No 6 men could have divided the herd so neatly, so they did it perfectly. What orders? Panted Akela. They're trying to join again. Mowgli slipped onto Rama's back, that's the head bull. Drive the bulls away to the left, Akela. Gray Brother, when we are gone, hold the cows together and drive them into the foot of the ravine. So they're going to go on both sides of that ravine, trapping Shere Khan. How far? Said Gray Brother, panting and snapping. Till the sides are higher than Shere Khan can jump, shouted Mowgli. Keep them there till we come down. The bulls swept off as Akela bade, and Gray Brother stopped in front of the cows. They charged down on him, and he ran just before them to the foot of the ravine, as Akela drove the bulls far to the left. Well done! Another charge, and they are fairly started. Careful now, careful, Akela. A snap too much, and the bulls will charge. Hia! This is wilder work than driving Black Buck. Didst thou think these creatures could move so swiftly? Mowgli called. I have hunted these two in my time, gasped Akela in the dust. Shall I turn them into the jungle? I turn, swiftly turn them. Rama is mad with rage. Oh, if I could only tell him what I need of him today. The bulls returned to the right this time and crashed into the standing thicket. The other herd children, watching with the cattle half a mile away, hurried to the village as fast as their legs would carry them, crying that the buffaloes had gone mad and run away. But Mowgli's plan was simple enough. All he wanted to do was make a big circle uphill and get at the head of the ravine, and then take the bulls down it and catch Shere Khan between the bulls and the cows, for he knew that after a meal and a full drink, Shere Khan would not be in any condition to fight or to clamber up the sides of the ravine. He was soothing the buffaloes now by voice, and Akela had dropped far to the rear, only whimpering once or twice to hurry the near guard. It was a long, long circle, for they did not wish to get too near the ravine and give Shere Khan warning. At last, Mowgli rounded up the bewildered herd at the head of the ravine on a grassy patch that sloped down to the ravine itself. From that height, you could see across the tops of the trees down to the plain below. But what Mowgli looked at was the sides of the ravines, and he saw with a great deal of satisfaction that they ran nearly straight up and down. Why is that a good thing? The sides of the ravines are just steep, straight up. Shere Khan can't escape going up, while the vines and creepers that hung over them would give no foothold to a tiger who wanted to get on. Let them breathe, Akela, he said, holding up his hand. They have not winded him yet. Let them breathe. I must tell Shere Khan who comes. We have him in the trap. So he put his hands to his mouth and shouted down the ravine. It was almost like shouting down a tunnel, and the echoes jumped from rock to rock. After a long time, there came back the drawling, sleepy snarl of a full-fed tiger just wakened. So he's finally wakening up. Who calls? Said Shere Khan, and a splendid peacock fluttered up out of the ravine, screeching, I, Mowgli, cattle thief. It is time to come to the council rock. Down, hurry them down, Akela. Down, Rama, down. So I, Mowgli, cattle thief. It's time to come to the council rock. That means it is time for him to kill Shere Khan and bring his hide back to the council rock. I think we'll stop there. Yeah, so, okay, we're going to stop there in page 88. So we'll see what happens next with Shere Khan when we read the last part of it tomorrow. Hope you guys are enjoying the story, and I will talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye.